What if the emptiness inside you is not a problem, but an invitation to something greater? Have you ever felt lost, as if you were sailing in an endless sea, not knowing which direction to go? This is the moment in which many of us find ourselves, without an internal compass that tells us what to do, where to go, who to be. You look around you and feel that everything around you is in motion, but you, for some reason, remain still, stagnant. Life goes on, but you ask yourself, where is my place in this world? The emptiness we feel in moments like these is not a bad thing. On the contrary, it is one of the most profound forms of self-knowledge that we can experience. When you feel that something is missing, something that you cannot identify or understand, what is really happening is that you are being invited to delve into your own inner self. You are being called to a journey of self-discovery, although this journey can be scary and full of uncertainty. Many people spend their entire lives trying to fill this void with external things: work, relationships, material possessions. And with each new filling, they feel a little better, but soon the emptiness returns. Because the emptiness we feel cannot be filled with anything external to us. It is, in fact, an essential part of our soul, a space that can only be filled by truly connecting with who we are. The challenge we face is that this emptiness is not something we can simply ignore. It will continue to call for our attention until we are brave enough to face it, look it in the eye, and understand what it is trying to teach us. When you feel this emptiness, know that you are not alone. We all go through it at some point. The difference is how we choose to respond to this call. The truth is that at some point in our lives, we all become prisoners of an identity that we did not choose, but that we have somehow learned to accept as our own. From a young age, we are shaped by external expectations, from our parents, from society, from school, from work. You become what the world expects of you, not what your soul yearns to be. In the relentless search for acceptance and belonging, many of us create a persona, a self that is accepted, that adapts, that fits in. But this persona, this superficial self, is often just a mask. It is not you, but rather a social construct, a reflection of the external influences that have been imposed on you. And you may even begin to believe that this self is who you really are. The problem, however, is that this self that you have created can be a prison in disguise. It limits you, preventing you from experiencing your true essence. Over time, you get lost in a narrative built around what you should be, instead of experiencing who you really are. And this is one of life's biggest mistakes. We believe we are being ourselves, but in reality, we are just following a script that we did not write. The emptiness we feel arises precisely from this disconnection. The me that you believe you are is not actually real. It is the sum of external influences and, as comfortable as it may seem, it is far from reflecting who you really are. The key to finding your way back is to start questioning this constructed identity, to let go of the layers that are not yours, so that, finally, you can discover what lies beneath them. In our constant search for answers, we often dismiss emptiness as something negative. We experience it as a void to be filled, an uncomfortable feeling that we just want to get rid of as quickly as possible. However, emptiness, at its core, is a bearer of wisdom, a silent invitation to explore the depths of our soul. Imagine that emptiness is not a sign of lack, but of potential. It arises when the superficial self that you try so hard to protect and project to the world can no longer sustain your expectations. When what is external no longer fulfills your interior, emptiness appears, not to punish, but to warn. It is time to look within and understand what really matters. Carl Jung, the great psychologist, knew that emptiness was not a hole to be filled with external things. He understood that it was, in fact, a sacred space of transformation. When you feel empty, it is as if a part of you is trying to speak, trying to be heard. This emptiness is an invitation for profound renewal. It is the door to the unconscious, that place within us where hidden truths await discovery. Emptiness, therefore, is an opportunity for growth. It arises when it is time for you to make room for your true essence, free from the masks that have been imposed or created over time. It brings with it the invitation to free yourself from external expectations and listen to the quieter voices within you, those that speak about who you really are, without pressure or limitations. Do not be afraid of emptiness. It is a sign that you are about to discover something much greater than anything the world can offer. It is the portal to a profound journey of self-discovery, where true fulfillment resides. Why are the darkest parts of ourselves often the ones we avoid the most? The parts we prefer to hide, reject, or even deny. The truth is that our shadow, as Carl Jung called it, is not an enemy, but a vital part of our psyche, one that, if left unaddressed, will continue to shape our lives in the shadows. The shadow is not something external, but something that is within us, that which we repress, ignore, or refuse to accept. It includes all the aspects of ourselves that do not fit the idealized image we have of who we should be. It includes fear, anger, insecurity, envy, hidden desires. These aspects can be uncomfortable and difficult to deal with, but what Jung teaches us is that they do not disappear just because we ignore them. They continue to influence our choices, our relationships, and even our happiness, in subtle and often destructive ways. Have you ever noticed yourself reacting to something in a disproportionate way, as if you were being pulled by an invisible force, without understanding where the intensity of this reaction comes from? This is the shadow acting up, trying to get your attention. It manifests itself in moments when something deep inside you, buried deep inside, rises to the surface. Perhaps you are surprised by an outburst of anger or a feeling of despair, and the first thing you do is push it away. However, in doing so, you are simply pushing down a part of yourself that is desperate to be heard. Jung believed that true healing, true growth, occurs when you have the courage to look at your shadow. Facing this part of yourself is not an easy process, but it is liberating. By acknowledging it, you take the first step towards integrating these repressed qualities, transforming them from destructive forces into sources of wisdom and strength. The shadow, when understood and accepted, can become a powerful ally in your journey of self-discovery. Instead of running away from what you fear, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? When you stop fearing the shadow, you begin to master it, becoming more whole, more authentic, more free. If the void is a messenger and the shadow is an essential part of who we are, the process of individuation is the path that leads us to our true essence. It is the effort to integrate all aspects of our psyche, both conscious and unconscious, to become who we really are, and not just who the world expects us to be. The process of individuation, as Carl Jung taught us, is the most profound journey a person can undertake. It is not something that happens overnight, but an ongoing journey of self-discovery and transformation. And it is essentially a solitary process. You may have guides, mentors, or people who inspire you, but the real work happens within you. Individuation is not about becoming perfect or free from flaws, as we often imagine. It is about recognizing, accepting, and integrating the different facets of your being. It is about bringing to light the parts of yourself that have been hidden, whether out of shame, fear, or simply the need to fit in with the world. It's a process of becoming whole, where you don't limit yourself to a rigid identity, but embrace the complexity of who you are, with all its contradictions and nuances. But what does this mean in practice? Individuation is the moment when you begin to question everything you thought you knew about yourself, when you look at the masks you've worn over the years and decide, courageously, to take them off. It means going beyond external expectations and seeking a deeper meaning for your life, aligned with what is genuine about you, rather than what you think you should be. Individuation involves facing the hardest part, the fear of the unknown. Because when you start to question your identity and your perception of the world, everything can seem uncertain and scary. But by embracing this uncertainty, you take steps towards becoming the person you were always meant to be, but who has been drowned out by the noise of everyday life. The process of individuation is the journey towards authenticity, a difficult but profoundly liberating path. Every small step in that direction is a victory, and every moment of clarity, however fleeting, reveals a little more of the person you are destined to become. When you look at your life, what do you see? Most of us are searching for something that gives meaning to the daily chaos, something that justifies the ups and downs, that explains the suffering and the joy. The search for meaning is one of the greatest human needs, and we often feel like we are floating in a sea of uncertainty, without an anchor point. But meaning is not something that appears out of thin air. It is created, forged by our choices, by how we decide to respond to the challenges that life presents us. Carl Jung believed that, in order to live a fulfilling life, we need to create meaning through the integration of our psyche. He saw life as a continuous process of transformation, and meaning emerges when we begin to live according to our true essence, not according to the expectations imposed by others or by a superficial version of who we believe ourselves to be. True meaning is linked to authenticity, living life not as it is expected, but as it is meant to be for you. Creating meaning is not a single event, but a series of daily choices. It means giving importance to what truly resonates with you and distancing yourself from what merely fills the temporary voids in your existence. It means having the courage to align with your purpose, even when the path ahead is not clear or safe. But this creation of meaning also involves dealing with pain and suffering. Sometimes it is the most difficult moments in life that shape us, that force us to question and search for something deeper. In these moments, meaning is not given, it must be found. Pain becomes an opportunity for growth, and suffering, a valuable lesson. Creating meaning is, therefore, an act of courage. It is not something that life will give you, but something that you must choose to build. As you integrate the shadow, as you go through the process of individuation, you begin to realize that each moment, each challenge, carries within it the opportunity to create something greater. Meaning is not in what you do, but in how you choose to live what you are. The void, which we so often fear and avoid, is paradoxically the fertile ground where true growth is born. When we face the space of uncertainty and disorientation, when we allow ourselves to experience the discomfort of not knowing, that is when transformation begins. The legacy of emptiness is not pain or absence, but the space for something new to emerge, something that could not arise in a life full of certainties and predictable patterns. Emptiness, at first glance, seems like a flaw, a gap, a lack. But upon deeper reflection, we see that it is essential for creation. It offers us the freedom to reinvent ourselves, to be shaped by experiences that have not yet happened. It forces us to seek meaning where before there was only a constant search for quick and superficial answers. And it is in this space of discomfort, of not knowing, that we often find our deepest purpose. The legacy of emptiness is, therefore, the possibility of continuous transformation. It teaches us that life does not need to be filled with distractions or rigid expectations. Sometimes, it is in the stillness of emptiness that we find the greatest clarity. Rather than fearing this space, we should embrace it. It gives us the privilege to create, to grow, and to live more authentically. True freedom comes when we accept emptiness as part of our journey. It frees us from imposed expectations and allows us to create a legacy of authenticity, transformation, and depth. Emptiness, at its core, is an invitation to true life, one that is rich in meaning and self-knowledge. If you have come this far, it is because something within you resonated with this journey of self-knowledge and transformation. If this content touched your soul in any way, leave a like to support the channel and share it with those who also need this reflection. And of course, if you have not yet subscribed, Subscribe now so you do not miss any more videos like this. Remember, the search for truth and authenticity begins with a simple step. Take the next one now, and continue your journey with us. Until the next video.